Hello and a warm welcome to all our viewers joining us today. I'm Adnan and I'm delighted to be here with you for today's special session brought to you by Y-Axis, India's #1 immigration and visa consultants. Today's session promises to be incredibly insightful as we delve into the journey of one of our very own, Mr. VVS Kashyap, who has successfully navigated the journey of studying and settling in Canada. Firstly, let me extend our heartfelt gratitude to Mr. VVS Kashyap for gracefully accepting our invitation and sparing his valuable time to join us live from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Kashyap is not only an exemplary individual but also a shining example of a successful global Indian. Hailing from Kakinada, Andhra Pradesh, he completed his BTech from Sri Manakula Vinyagar Engineering College, Puducherry, and then he embarked on a journey with TCS for a tenure of 4 years as a software developer specializing in multiple technologies. In pursuit of higher education and broader horizons, Kashyap ventured into the vibrant academic environment of Concordia University, Montreal, Quebec, where he pursued his master's in computer science. Today, he stands as a permanent resident in Canada, a testament to his determination and expert guidance of Y-Axis throughout his admission and visa process. Before we dive into today's conversation with Kashyap, I urge all our viewers joining us from various platforms, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram, to please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Y-Axis Careers Overseas. I repeat, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, Y-Axis Careers Overseas. Not only will you gain access to invaluable resources and insights, but you will also stand a chance to win $1,000 for posting your questions today to Mr. Kashyap. And and please do remember to share your UPI ID when you share your questions, along with the city and state that you belong to. Now, without further ado, let me invite Mr. Kashyap to please share his experience so far, how the thought germinated of going to Canada, how did he think of going to Canada, and how has his experience been so far, and what do you do currently in Canada, Kashyap?
Yeah, thank you, Adnan. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the welcome, and I really appreciate it. Um, yeah, my journey started way back in, I guess, around 2016 with Y-Axis. So I was doing my job in TCS, and I was like, I want to pursue higher studies, and I want to grow myself. So on that context, I started searching for some consultancies, and I found that Y-Axis is the #1. The reviews are very good, and I randomly picked it, but still, it went well for me. So I did the process for almost 1 year, I guess. At the time, because there were many other provinces, but
Mhm.
I applied for Quebec province, which is kind of specialized here. So they have their own set of rules and everything. So if you're applying for Quebec, you need to apply for CAQ and other stuff.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, it's a very good choice for me, and I'm able to succeed getting visa and also admission at one of the prestigious university called Concordia. It's #2 in whole Quebec, one being
Right.
McGill.
Right.
Um, yes, and yeah, that's a great journey. While I speak about I am just remembering everything. It's a good.
Everything. Yeah, fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing your journey with us, Kashyap. While we wait for our audience to post the questions, can you share any memorable experiences or challenges you faced during your time at Concordia University that might have helped shape your professional and personal growth?
Yeah, for sure. when we start journey in, of course, in Canada, it's more different than India. So in India, we have some people to support you, and the education system is completely different. But in Canada, it's more individual. So the moment you come to Canada, the individuality increases for you. So you'll start learning things. You'll start to learn how to live on your own, and and the education system itself is like more competitive. So you have to be on your toes every time and ensure that you're going to classes and taking notes and working on assignments. So assignments is a main part in here. So there might be midterm exams and final exams. So unlike in India, so the complete score at the end of the course relies on assignments and exams. Assignment plays like around 50% of your score. It's always important to focus on your assignments and make
Hmm.
sure you're doing it properly, and
Hmm.
also time it properly, because there might be some group projects to ensure that everyone aligns to the timings. Uh, so it's good to get things done early, as everyone says. Uh, yes, that's the change you need in your life if you want to grow.
So, so one of our viewers is asking the question: is study in Canada easy or difficult? And I would like to relate that with what you just now said, that the master's program that you studied in Concordia was more of an assignment based and project based study program, if
Yes,
I'm not
yes,
wrong.
exactly,
So
exactly.
what would your what I'm so sorry, you're saying something.
No, 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 go ahead.
So, what would your advice be to aspiring Indian students who plan to study in the top universities in Canada? How should they be prepared in terms of excelling in their academics over there so that they don't face any hurdles and they are able to
Yeah,
successfully complete their program, study
sure.
program?
Sure. So I'm guessing that when you start your whole process for Canada study, you might have some time before coming here. I'm assuming that, like, let's say your visa is approved, your tickets are booked, you might have like 1 month. In a good case, you have 1 month or so 15 days. So it's good to refer all your concepts like back what you studied in engineering or you to work. So it helps us to come up to that level. And once you come here, it's always good to ask questions. Normally we Indians don't ask questions, so it's good always to ask questions and ensure that you're understanding concepts. And also they follow an concept called teaching assistant. So apart from the
Very good.
professor, you'll also have a teaching assistant whom you can reach at any time and ensure that all your questions are answered. And they have the notes. They always provide notes, the PDFs and presentations in the in a module type thing, and you can always refer to that. And you can always form groups within the university, within the class, and it will be useful for you if you have useful group members. And
True, true.
adding to that, I also want to say one more thing. Um, oh, I'll tell you later.
Sure,
Uh,
sure, no
I,
problem. No problem. So tell me, one of our users is also asking how y-axis was, instrumental in your admission and visa success. We'll come to that in a bit. But before that, could you also throw some light on your background in software development? How do you think that helped your work experience here in India? And of course, you had a decent profile. I went through your resume, and I think you had a 7.2 CGPA in your engineering. Is that right?
it's
So
around 7.4. Yeah.
7.4 CGPA, and I think you did your BTech from computer science. Is that correct?
Yes.
Right. So how much of a role does good academics play in getting a successful admission? How was your experience about that? And did your work experience in TCS as a software developer complement your master's program there, and did it in any way enrich your experience in Concordia?
Oh, that's a very good question. Yes, of course. So there are two ways. So once you complete academics, you can start straight away. That will give you an edge. But having said that, you can also work for 1 or 2 years. That will make you ready for the outer world. So if you have some experience, you will expose to the professional environment. So that will also add up to your body language and also the knowledge. The both ways are very good. You can even directly start after engineering, or you can also do it after working for 2 years. I think I recommend 1 or 2 years should be good, not more than that. But
Not
that
more
would
than that.
certainly help. But that would certainly help you, to uh, get things to understand things quickly.
Also, do you think people because also there is a requirement from the universities where they need you to explain how you spent your time post your graduation. And if, let us say, there was a gap in your after completing your graduation and you were not able to secure a good job immediately, and there was a considerable gap, would that then affect the admission process in any way, the admission decision in any way?
I don't think so,
Wouldn't that be a
because
risk?
no, that's not a problem. I don't think so. The universities don't mind a gap because yes, in India they more stress about the gap thing, but in here they they recommend or they encourage to take some gaps like while studying or anything. So it's not a problem uh, in university perspective. But while applying for Canada, you can just explain what you have done in the gap, like in the statement of purpose. You can explain we have done to some tour, or you did some rest, or you have helping your family, or anything you can do. You can mention like that, or whatever you did.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for sharing those valuable inputs. There is a question being posed by one of our, like I said, let us come to that question where you think Y Axis was specifically instrumental in helping in your admission process as well as visa success. What was that one aspect that you think got you that successful visa and
Yeah,
admission?
for sure. I also want to stress that Kavita is the one who helped me to come up, apply everything over here, and she was very. She used to follow every day, like, uh, so how is the process going on? Do you have any questions? So even she tried to help me in. I think at that time, I'm not sure if you guys are doing SOP. I I
Mhm.
I'm not
So,
sure in
for
2016.
the benefit of our audience, let me also inform them about what was the timeline. I think you applied for your masters in the year 2017, if I'm not wrong.
I think the process started in 16, and I got
16.
my admission around December, but I don't have enough time to travel, so I had to wait for other 5 months
Okay,
because
so you had to defer your admission.
Quebec has a CAQ requirement, so it has to wait for 1 month. So my classes
Mhm.
would start. So for that reason, I have to defer my admission.
Okay, and it was not a challenge.
It's simple. It's just a simple one email.
That's very good. And
Yeah.
also, I think students who traveled in that time, and compared to the latest announcement by Canadian government, I think it's a good news for all the student community out there. Because earlier, if you were a master's student, you would probably get a just 2 year post graduation work permit. But now the Canadian government has announced that you will get a straight 3 years post graduation work permit, which is a one good extra year. Is that
Yes, for
true?
sure.
And have you heard of it?
Uh, I've heard some rules have been changed, and for some, yeah, and I also heard about that 3 years work permit.
3 years
I,
work permit, yeah.
I'm not completely sure, but as I have heard about it, I was not in touch
We
with all
just had
this.
an announcement today, and
Okay.
we have the source of that information
Uh,
is the Canadian government website itself, which is a very good news for the students who are aspiring to go to Canada. What
yeah,
may I ask? Which place are you right now seated? Where are you exactly located right now? For so that our audience knows. And
yeah. Right now,
you live in Montreal, if I'm not wrong.
yes. Right now, I'm in Montreal, and I'm in the Concordia University where I did my study. It's
Oh,
an
very
open
good,
area. It's an open area. I can show you up at the end of the call, so that I can, there is no disturbance while speaking.
awesome, awesome.
Going back to your question about the work permit, it certainly
Yeah.
helps because Canada is the only country which provides you PR very quickly, the permanent residence. So, so once you study for 2 years, you can work for 1 year. And after 3 years, you can start applying for PR and you can get it in 4 years, just 4 years. So if you see my timeline, I came in 2017 around, I think at the end of 2017, let's say 2018. I studied for
Hmm.
2 years, 2020, and I applied my PR after one year of work experience. So this would take me to 2021. And after that, I applied for PR and I got it in 2022. It's just 4 years.
Within 4 years, and that's amazing. So, and you would definitely be aspiring to apply for citizenship as well. And how many years would that be
Yeah, it should be in like 2 to 3 years. I should get it
from now?
if I'm applying. Yeah, from now.
Okay,
After
very
getting
good.
PR, you can apply in 2 or 3 years.
That's amazing. Congratulations on your permanent residence,
Yeah, thank
Kashyap.
you.
So there's a specific question from Naveen. How many points did you require or did you have when you applied for PR? Can you throw some light on that, please? I think you would have
Um,
applied as a Canadian work experience in the category of Canadian
CEC.
work experience class, CEC class. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes. I'm just remembering how much points I used to have. Uh, I think it's around 500, but it's 500 is not required. It's 470 it was required at that point. But I had some work experience in India that added some points, and also your IELTS score obviously makes some difference in the end point calculation. But at that time, like in 2020, the 470 or 460 would be good enough to apply for get into the PR.
That's very good. And that's a very important point, I think, that you're making, getting a good IELTS score. And that brings me to the next question from one of our audience who is asking, how can we avoid a student visa rejection? And I would like to add an additional question to that. Do you think IELTS score is also very important when you're applying for a study visa? And do you think you need to get a good score in IELTS apart from your academic scores?
It's like a combination of everything. So when you see the IELTS, it's just one part of your process, the complete process. So it's a combination of academic results and even SOP. The statement of purpose plays a very key role. So if you
Mhm.
ensure that you're making it proper, like your let's say you're mentioning that there was a gap for 2 years, will that affect? If you just make a point in your SOP that so in these 2 years I was helping my family, something like that. So if you make your SOP proper, I think it won't be a problem. But having said that, yes, you should have some minimum score, like six or something like that.
Okay. I think the stakes are, you know, a 6.5 or 7 is what is required for masters, from what I understand, for specifically for masters programs in Canada, right?
Yes, for
So,
some, yeah, right, sorry.
no, I'm so sorry. You're saying something.
Yeah, for some universities, so it's like more like the university based. So the IELTS score, it's for some universities. Let's say University of Waterloo requires 7.5. So yes, of course, if the better the score, better the university.
True, true. Very rightly said. And I think that's something that's a very important takeaway for our audience who is participating today, because we do get to hear from many students who want to, in some way, avoid the IELTS exam, or they have this. They want to go for universities which will waive off the IELTS exam, which I think would be a dangerous thing to do, because it's not just
Yes,
getting an admission success but also the visa success. And
yes.
when it comes to the visa, I'm sure the visa officers will also look into your IELTS score and your overall profile, like you rightly said.
There are high chances
Having
that visa might not go through if you're not giving IELTS. So it's always recommended to do IELTS.
always recommended. Yes, that's
Yeah.
very good. Thank you for sharing those inputs, Kashyap. Also, as someone who has successfully transitioned from student life to permanent residency in Canada, what are the key factors that prospective immigrants should consider before even taking that big decision in their life? So you may want to throw some light on, this, how they can look forward to a life in Canada, and some of the key factors that you think that they should consider before making such a decision.
Yeah, for sure. Here, the life it's completely different than India because here. Uh, So you live on your own, as I mentioned before, and you will have some more individuality. And apart from that, uh, what I would say is people are more into their lives. So they're very busy. So everyone is busy. So you see, people get up at 8 and do their work until 4 and then just they relax after that. So it's more like a busy life here. So
Mhm.
so if you're coming here, just be prepared that so for being a student, it's even busier because you have to study, you have to do your part time, you have to study, and again you have to go to your university or college and do assignments. So, but you'll get used to it. So maybe one month you might feel like, okay, it's something different. It's some, of course, because when you're growing, it's always difficult. So you will
Correct.
get used to it later. But once you complete a study, being in work is easier because it's the stress is less. You don't have to do assignments first of all, and
Of
adding to
course.
that, you have your better earning than being student. So you get relaxed then. Even being student, you'll try to roam during weekends and whenever there are no
True.
assignments.
True.
But
True.
being a permanent resident or after completing studies, you'll have more time in your pocket to do things.
Right. So, what was, just for the benefit of the audience, what was your biggest cultural, difference that you encountered when transitioning from India to Canada, and how did you adapt to it? Share at least one memory with us. Your first experience, your first cultural shock that you got when you got into Canada.
Yeah, people are so nicer that they would say sorry for everything. So it's the first cultural thing because in India
So
we
that was
don't.
a good experience, of course.
Yes, it's good experiences. I agree. But I didn't expect that they would say sorry for everything. Like in India, we don't say sorry. We don't even bother sometimes. Of course, there are certain set of people who always do, but here it's more like when I say like that, it is more like more number of people do that. I'm not
Of
saying
course.
anything bad about India, but it's more number of people doing it. So more number of
Of
people
course.
say sorry here, but not unlike India. And apart from that, regarding the culture, uh, they also treat you good. There is no kind of racism we talk about. So they always treat you good and they're always down to earth. That really helps when you're coming to a new place. Um,
True that.
Yes, that's pretty much. And if you ask me for any one of the experiences, even when I landed in the airport and the immigrant officer is very nice to me. Yeah, he's very kind and nice to me. So it's like, don't feel bad, don't feel worried, don't feel stressed. You're good here. You'll have so many Indian friends. So that's what he mentioned
That's
to me. I was
amazing.
like, okay,
That's
like,
amazing.
okay,
That's so
yeah.
nice. So nice. So yeah, that's wonderful. It's so nice to be welcomed like that. So that speaks volumes about how Canada has always been and continues to be the most sought after destination, not only by Indians but also people from across the globe. So
Yes,
that's
there
very
are
good.
so many
That's
immigrants. Yes.
Yes, yes. So that's very good. Uh, there's one question which is coming in which says, which province is easy to get PR?
Yeah, certainly it's Ontario. So as I said, I was talking all the way in this call, like the Quebec have different rules. So
Right.
Quebec could be your last preference, but apart from that, any province you could get it easily. It doesn't matter. It depends on where your university is.
So now Canada is also promoting the other provinces where, and it requires you to, just for the benefit of the audience, I'm also sharing an additional information which is very latest, and there is a new change in the Canadian application process for students. Now they need to also apply for a provincial certificate,
The
right?
DLI
So
thing, the institution thing. Okay.
yes, yes. So that, in a way, they are trying to promote their different provinces. Do you think? How do you compare? If I have to say, I mean, those who are knowledgeable of, or those who know the geography of Canada, for them, how do you compare the different provinces of Canada? Which provinces should you think Indians should be aiming for, which will have more future opportunities, which will be good in terms of getting easy PR, pathway programs, etc. Do you have any knowledge about that?
Yeah, for sure. So Ontario is the province where you'll always see so many people and so much. Toronto is the main city, so you'll have so much of opportunities once you complete your job. And having said that, there is also Alberta, Alberta province. So there are
Right.
many Indian people come there for directly who are applying PR. So that's easiest to get. But if you're coming as a student, I recommend you to go to the Ontario one where you have so many
Ontario.
colleges and so many universities. Yes.
We also
And
hear
you'll have
about
good.
British Columbia, and these days also New Brunswick and New Labrador, and also Prince Edward Island. There are people who are traveling to these provinces as well. How are the weather conditions, and do you think it's easy to live in these provinces?
So if you see like any web page where it mentions about the best provinces to stay, I would say it's Ontario and then British Columbia, and then yeah, it goes list like that. And then it's not just about weather, it's also about how we have work opportunities and
Work opportunities, yes.
how much you
Sure.
exposure to Indian community. So based on all these scenarios, so I would say Ontario is the top, and then British Columbia, and then even Alberta, and then comes the Quebec. So
Very
it's
good.
like a whole package. Like you'll have the opportunities, you'll have the climate is good, and you'll have, of course, if you're looking for Indian, you might look for Indian community or Indian restaurants. So these are based on my understanding. This is the order which you should prefer.
That's very good. Thank you so much, Kashyap. One of our audience is asking a question which is specific to the salary. Now, Indians go to Canada with great hopes, and after completing their studies in Canada, you studied in a very good university, I think one of the top ranked universities in Canada, which is Concordia University. But some of them may be studying in some, not very highly ranked universities, good universities, but not very highly ranked. What are the prospects in general of Indian students in terms of salary range? What can they expect in terms of their initial salary?
And that's so another
I'm
culture
not
shock.
asking you to reveal your package, but
Uh, yeah, I see it. But another culture thing you were referring to before. So once we come here, we don't talk about salary like
see,
here.
there you go.
But
That's understandable.
I can provide you a range, like what should be the good
Which
range
is
they would
very good.
say.
Yes.
So if you're a fresher coming out of BTech in the India and coming here and doing 2 years master program, you could expect around 70 to 90K. It's like it depends. Like I'm just saying, if you go to any FANG company like Facebook and everything, it would be much higher. But it's like just an
Mhm.
average range I'm saying. And then for some experienced people, so it would start from 90K.
So you're speaking in Canadian dollars, of course.
Yes.
And what would be the average living expense, if you may throw some light on that as well,
It
for an
depends upon
individual who
province.
is living by himself and not with the family?
So it depends on province. Let's say I'm living in Montreal here, so it would cost me around. So I'm a PR. So if I'm a student, I would do in a different way. But let's say I'm already working and I have some extra things I can able to manage. So in that case, I would pay around 1,500 like for a month. Rent is around 900, 800, and other 600 is for groceries and stuff.
Which is still very decent, I would say, and not very expensive. Though there is a lot of talk of Canada becoming very expensive for, especially the expat community living over there. But what you're saying does not discourage me so much. I still have hope, and I still think there's immense opportunity for Indian community to go and make a good living in Canada. Would you agree to
Certainly,
that?
there is yes, certainly there is an increase in costs for sure. It's all over the world due to inflation, but that doesn't mean that you have to spend so much. So you can plan accordingly and ensure that you're staying in a budget.
Which is very good. I think that's so encouraging for the audience who's specifically interested to go to Canada. I think they can take a cue from what you said. What you mentioned was very right. You does not necessarily mean that you spend so much. So if you can manage your expenses, I think you can thrive in a destination like Canada. Thank you so much, Kashyap. How do you see, coming from the software background, from the tech industry background, how do you see the future prospects in Canada for people who come from the technology background in general, or otherwise also the overall job prospects in Canada? And because there's a lot of talk of people living in Canada but also working in US, so I just wanted you to throw some light on that.
Yeah, the tech is growing like anything. So they have this new AI thing, right? So everywhere it's AI. So even my province, Montreal, is investing so much in AI, artificial intelligence. So and even Ontario, as I mentioned, Toronto is the main city in Ontario, and in Toronto there are a lot of opportunities for tech. For tech, there is no looking backward in Canada. So it's always good. And for other departments, even for the medical department, they have high demand here. Even on the normal workforce, also have high demand as one of the generation is getting retired, the 50s to 60s. So there is high demand for people. So I would say it's always good in Canada for any kind of domain.
That's very good. That's very good and so encouraging. Thank you so much. And I would like to take a moment to thank our audience who have been asking their questions. Akash, thank you for asking that important question on the salary range, and that brought out the cultural difference between India and Canada that Kashyap very rightly shared with us. And also Abdul Muqim for asking which about the provinces. And I think we have a few more participants. We'll be announcing the winners shortly, and I hope you have shared your UPI IDs, and we will run a quick lucky draw. And those of you who are the lucky winners for today's session for asking your questions, you will receive your $1,000 straight to your bank account. Thank you for asking those important questions. Thank you, Kashyap. It has been a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you so much for taking out your valuable time, and also ensuring that you go and place yourself in Concordia University in the student block that you have studied in. It was a pleasure. I'm sure our audience today must have benefited so much with this conversation. It makes a huge difference when you get to speak to somebody who is already there, been there and done that, and is living the experience of Canada. So thank you so much once again. It was a pleasure. Love
I
talking to
can
you. Thank
I
you,
can show
audience.
you
Yes.
I can show you as well the.
Oh, why not? That would be so delightful. Yeah. Please.
And thank you for inviting me as well. So it brought me all memories back. So,
Yeah. True that. Same here.
so this is outside now. It's around -11 right now. So, but
Wow.
if you're staying inside, you will have heaters and everything. So just doing the walking, you might have to cover up everything, cover up your face and all the body with nice winter coats. Uh,
Sure.
but if you stay inside, you always have heaters. So as you saw me earlier, I didn't have any coat inside.
I know the way you're
So
dressed doesn't seem like it's -11 out there.
yeah. So as you see, can you read that
Yes,
Concordia?
yes, yes. We are able to see.
So
Yeah.
this this
The
so this
rooftops
is
are
one of
covered with ice.
yeah,
And that's
exactly,
Concordia University
snow.
campus, is it?
So yeah, this is one of the campus. It is called JMSP. This is for MBA. It's for
Okay.
MBA admissions. So but where I have this is for all the tech, the computer science and stuff. This is more
That's
like
very
an
good.
open area where you can study, like do group assignments and stuff. And you also have your labs here. So if you have access, you can go inside and there are systems you can't see right now, but you can access them. And you also have the
Awesome.
printer, yeah, all this stuff. So you can, so it all goes down to your ID card. So if you have ID card, you can do everything. Um, it's like more like a university now with the rooms and stuff.
Of course, of course. And it's amazing that though you have graduated from Concordia already, and it's been, I think, some 4 years now, you still are allowed access to visit the university.
Yeah, it's just like a common area. Anyone can access it. But for labs, you should have your ID and stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's what I want to show. But if I go outside, I might show the building building. But I think you already saw it building from the view
Of
itself.
course. I
Yeah,
think we would not want to give you that trouble, but then, in the interest of time, and also because the session was timed for 30 minutes, I
mhm,
think we are almost on the verge of closing. But
sure.
thank you so much, Kashyap, for showing us around. That was a very good gesture from your end. That gives us so much more, visibility, and I'm sure people are already loving it. Abdul Muqim, Akash, they already say thank you for sharing, you know so
No problem.
really nice of you. Thank you, Kashyap, for your time. It was a
Yeah.
pleasure. And thank you, the audience. I will then now, with your permission, end today's session.
Oh,
Thank you.
thank you. Thanks for
Wish
inviting
you
me.
all the
Bye bye.
best. Wish you all the best.
Yeah. Yeah. Bye.